Hello and welcome to another edition of G Sports Universe. It's the second game of South Africa, Bafana Bafana, the boys. They were playing their second game of the world qualification against Rwanda. You might remember they won their first game against Benin. Very scary win, but 3 points in the bag. Second game, the pitch was not so convincing, but the boys tried their best. Even Rwanda was playing on the same pitch, so we can't complain much. But they know what the conditions of this pitch. So a very, very, very dirty match, unconvincing. The pitch was very disappointing, but nonetheless, we managed to win. I think this is where our first mistake came from. Ibhodlela laphaya uSibisi. If you take a look at that, he should have just passed the ball to Kulu or clear the ball one time, one shot, clear the ball. But anyway, we don't know how come he played the game, because the previous game he was on the bench for Pirates, and here we are, he's playing against Rwanda, World Cup qualifier, but he was not playing for his team for 2 games in a row. And Umvala was there, but it's none of our business.
Yeah. Well, to continue from where my colleague here, Kobe, last said, we're going towards, let's forget about the World Cup qualifiers. We're going to continue with the World Cup qualifiers, but then on January, we're going to AFCON. We're going to play AFCON. You can't tell me that you're going to take this type of a defender to play AFCON. If you want to win AFCON against the very best of Egypt, your Ivory Coast, your Cameroons, to name few,
Yeah.
I don't think we can play against those world-class players who come from around the world, from different teams around the world, Europe. I think Bafana Bafana, Hugo Bros, there's still a lot of work to do. No one thought that Bafana Bafana can be beaten by Rwanda. Yes, the conditions were bad on the day, but then Kobe has mentioned it. Both teams were playing on the same pitch. Bafana Bafana were beaten by their own mistakes. Both goals. Kuliso Muda on the other side, I don't know what he was doing on the second goal, and on the first goal, Sbisi from Orlando Pirates, I don't know what he was doing. They are both world class defenders. I don't doubt that. But then on a very high stage like this and do such silly schoolboy mistakes.
You need to be decisive.
Yeah.
Second goal, similar mistake. There, Kulisa Mudau, he got the chance to be in front of the defender. What he could have done, could have just cleared the ball. That's all. Second goal, first half, the game is finished, lost 2-0.
Yeah. I just wanna say, I'm just appalled by the conditions they're playing under. It's just so bad. I'm actually disappointed not only in CAF, since like Motsepe is now the president. I think he's still president of CAF.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
the Kefi.
I'm very disappointed in this whole thing, and I'm also disappointed in FIFA as a whole, because this ground looks dangerous to me. I don't think Brian plays a lot of football, so I'm pretty sure he can maybe say maybe what like are the dangers of playing in a pitch like this. Because Brian, have you ever played in a pitch like this?
Well, because I've never played professional football, I've played in conditions like this, and we do play. But then, considering that they are professional football players,
How can they allow this? The
they
man
should
needs to be
consider the
protecting
players' safety first. That's why other football clubs don't let their players go out
Go
to play.
international.
Exactly. for some.
Especially to African.
Yes, those
Yeah.
are one of the excuses that you hear from coaches or team officials to say, why didn't you let a certain player go to represent his country? Those are one of the excuses. You cannot let professional football players like this, like for instance, let me name one like Pepe Lostole coming from Portugal. He's playing in a league in Portugal. I'm sure he's also shocked how can you play in such conditions.
Poor. Poor.
Yeah. So basically, European coaches are justified by what we are seeing here. Cause like really now, is this really is? Yeah. Uh,
Yeah, looking at the highlights of the game, looks like we lack coaching. Because in situations like this, the coach and the technical team have to change their plan to suit the condition. So in situations like this, we could have came up with a different technique to approach the game, maybe different players who are maybe used to this condition, or maybe we trust that they are used to it even though they're not, but put their trust in them. I think we could have approached the game with a different technique considering the situation. Because if you look at it, we were trying to play 1-2 touches like what we normally do on a normal dry pitch. So yeah, and the choice of players we used, I don't know why we keep on rotating players for no reason. We won the last game, but we changed almost half the squad today. So I don't know whether that's part of the building phase, but it's not helping us. Yeah.
Well, to attest that from Gobi, it was forced changes. I can attest on two changes that happened because Mahopa, he went out. It was a forced change on the first game, Benin game. It was a forced change. Mahopa went out. I think who's the striker from Orlando Pirates? Zakele Lepasa came in, I think. And I also think the centre back that you spoke about is Vala from Sundowns. I think he also was a forced change on the first game against Benin too. So I don't know
So
if there's anything a coach like Hugo Bros can do. This coach won a AFCON with the youngsters on when he was coaching Cameroon. These players are world class players. Some are from Mamelodi Sundowns. They've just won the African Super League. But then, if you see some of their performances on Bafana Bafana,
yeah,
it's like I don't know. It's like I don't know. Mkwena, he plays like I don't know which Mkwena comes to play in the Bafana Bafana setup. But it's not the same Mkwena that plays at Mamelodi Sundowns.
lack motivation.
yeah. I haven't watched Bafana Bafana play in a long time because I always wanna sleep happy. I wanna eat before I sleep, so I don't watch Bafana Bafana anymore. And so I think it has to do with consistency. And I don't like if you look at the team now and you look at the team like 6 months back, it's a different team. 6 months back,
Look at that. Look at that. If it was Mamelodi Sundowns, Zwane would have buried that chance. That's a goal.
Yeah, it's one of those games, frustrating games, long games, no results at the end. But we march on, so they say. Looking forward to the next game, which will be our third game, which we need to win. Because if we win that one, we're on 3 points, 6 points.
6 point. We had to win this game. We had to win this game. Our next two game are hard games. It's Nigeria or Zimbabwe. I think those are the other two teams that are in our group.
okay, guys, do you currently see Bafana Bafana going to the World Cup as it is?
When we won our first game against Benin, I thought, okay, we've got. When we went to that game, we had a 11 game unbeaten run. That was our streak as Bafana Bafana. I started having that belief that, okay, we have qualified for AFCON, we are going to qualify for 2026 World Cup. But then now that we have been beaten on by Rwanda.
No disrespect to Rwanda. It's just that we're expecting a win because they're not a formidable nation when it comes to football. But then they were at home. They got the advantage. So it's a lose. We'll take it. Go back home. Go back to the drawing board. Learn from it. But to qualify for the World Cup, I think we stand a chance. We stand a very good chance. We got a good players who are very, very competitive on African continent. We are known for that. So yeah, we stand a very good chance. We just need to trust the process.
Okay, going forward, maybe what do you think? Maybe the coach can implement maybe to get a win against the teams that are still going to be playing Bafana Bafana, since they are going to be difficult teams.
Can you repeat that question for me, please?
Maybe what can the coach do differently um in the next game, maybe to get a better performance from the boys? What maybe do you think might help the team?
Well, the boys do perform brilliantly sometimes, I have to say. Like on the game against Benin, they did perform brilliantly. Just that they are not consistent on their performances, and some of them get tired early. You see, on that game, we were leading 2-0. Like on the 65th minute or what, they were all tired. Suddenly, we saw the old Bafana. I don't know what I can tell you about this Bafana. Suddenly, we gave away a silly mistake. Benin got a goal. After that, the game changed as a whole. We were parking a bus after that. I don't understand. It's a home game for us. But then we were winning comfortably. But then, secondly, I don't know what I have to say about this Bafana of ours. I don't see us going to the World Cup.
Gee, maybe what do you think maybe Hugo Brass can do differently maybe next time for a better performance?
Yeah, I think we need to compete, improve defensively because we conceded one goal previous game. Now we're conceding 2 goals. So that means we can score goals, but can let in goals too. So we need to put some more defensive minded players in the back rather than offensive minded players so that we can shut the door because we're scoring goals. So that means we must try and not concede goals. That's the only way to win football in big stages. Don't concede more goals.
But then modern football requires you to have wing backs to help you go forward.
Well, can't dispute that, but I think those kind of players are required in the technicality of the game, like considering the opposition, the weakness, the strength of the opposition. So that's where you slot in those players if you need them, because those players will always hurt you because they go up front, then they leave a hole in the back. So you need players to cover their spaces, or they have to come back and cover their places. So it's you need very, very creative players and very fast players.
Indeed. But then those spaces that are left by wing backs, and then both wing backs can't go up at the same time. You kind of like communicate. You tell the players as a coach that don't go up while the other wing back is up. And then if the opposition team takes the ball and tends to be making trouble for us, then we've got a center defending midfield. He has to track on those spaces that are left by the wing back. That's the job for him if we lose the ball.
Yeah, quite right. Yeah, modern football requires a player to respond. So if the player don't respond to the coach's technique, it's become very difficult. So because I'm sure against Benin when we were winning 2-0, I'm sure Hugo Bruce might have implemented some idea to shut the back door, but the players maybe couldn't respond properly. Even for this game, I'm sure he had a plan. They couldn't respond because they couldn't score. So sometimes it goes back to the players themselves whether they can respond to the coach's technicality. Because here in South Africa, we have a problem with players responding to the coaches' technicalities. So that's a big problem because player development is a very key of which we lack. So
Yeah.
I think that's where the problem is. But let's trust the process from Hugo Bruce. Very good coach.
Yes, I do trust in Hugo Bruce, but just that the players do disappoint Hugo Bruce sometimes. They do let Hugo Bruce down sometimes.
Yeah, I think a lot has to be said about discipline, about basically players and discipline, um, in South Africa, because I think that's also quite a big factor when it comes to the way they perform. The way they they like, you know, they um, it's all starts when you are young. So maybe we need to go back there.
Alright, it's Sihle, Brian, Gobi. See you on the next analysis.